Take any street photo from the 1960s and compare it with a crowd shot from today. You don't need a medical degree to see that something went badly wrong with how this country eats. In just a few decades, Americans went from mostly lean to a nation where obesity is the norm, and severe obesity is common. During that same period, the government was busy telling us what to put on our plates. In the early 1960s, only about 13% of US adults were obese. Today, around 40% are, and severe obesity has exploded compared with half a century ago. On average, Americans are roughly 24 pounds heavier than they were in 1960. Type 2 diabetes and heart disease risk marched upward right along with our weight. Those aren't abstract statistics. They're written in scar tissue, prescriptions, amputations, and early funerals. Now put those numbers next to the old food pyramid that hung in schools, clinics, and government pamphlets. At the base of that pyramid sat a wide foundation of bread, cereal, rice, and posture, many of them refined, low fiber, and heavily processed. Fat was something to fear. So the system steered people toward low-fat products that often replaced fat with sugar and starch. The message was simple: large servings of grain-based foods every day. Be suspicious of fat, and trust the processed, low-fat versions stamped with health halos. While ordinary people tried to follow this advice, the food environment transformed. Ultra-processed products, sugar-sweetened drinks, refined grains, and industrial snacks became cheap, ubiquitous, and aggressively marketed. The result was a perfect storm: guidance that normalized big doses of refined starch, a marketplace that flooded shelves with engineered diet and low-fat foods, and very little clear warning about what ultra-processed eating would do to metabolic health. The outcome is visible in every waiting room in the country. Meanwhile, the science did not stand still. For decades, research has linked high intakes of refined grains, added sugars, and processed meats to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, and has shown that minimally processed, fiber-rich, whole food diets sharply cut those risks. Yet the official story changed only slowly and cautiously. Part of the reason, as policy analyses have documented, is that meat, dairy, grain, beverage, and processed food interests pushed relentlessly to soften or block language that threatened their products, while conflicts of interest and political pressure shaped the final guidelines the public saw. That history makes today's sudden reset all the more striking. The new federal guidance doesn't just tweak serving sizes, it flips the entire message. The latest pyramid-style graphic elevates protein and healthy fats, leans into whole foods, and openly names ultra-processed foods and added sugars as things to sharply limit. The slogan is essentially, "Eat real food, cut the junk." That is exactly what common sense and a glance at those old photographs has been telling us all along. Read in that light, the new guidance is more than nutrition advice. It is a quiet confession that the old model was disastrously wrong. For people living with heart disease and diabetes today, the old pyramid wasn't just a harmless poster. It was part of a system that normalized the very way of eating that helped make them sick. The medical and nutrition establishments stood behind it, even as evidence and waistlines moved in the opposite direction. Whether you choose to call that disingenuous, negligent, or outright criminal, the lived reality is the same. A generation followed the official path and walked straight into an epidemic. The most powerful thing any of us can do now is to step off that path back toward real food, away from ultra-processing and, refused to pretend that the old story was anything other than a monumental failure.